guys, it's Jessica from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with my December TBR. I do not have my cart, I do not have my TBR jar because I have a very ambitious TBR. And I was like, I just need to read these books. It's the last month of the year. I have so many, and I am in such a weird reading mood that I just need to pick them and give me a long list of books to pick from depending on what I want to read, because I have fantasy, I have Christmas romances, I have Omegaverse, I have historical romances, so we're just gonna get into it. These are all the books I want to read by the end of the year. I don't know how I will do. I am taking, I think, a week off from work, which is going to be weird. I am a romance author assistant, so I work from home. I pretty much set my own hours, which means I'm constantly working, so I never take time off, but I am going to be taking a week in December off, and we will see how it goes. But I have a lot of reading plans, and we will get to them. The first two are book clubs. First is my book club with my Patreon. We read a Nora Roberts book a month. We are reading Sanctuary. I am very excited for this one. This does remind me of The Inheritance, but like without paranormal romance. Inheritance Nora also wrote. There's an island off the coast of Georgia that haunts her dreams. Someone is sending her really strange photos, candids, close-ups, and then they send her a photo of her mom dead. And so she has to return to the island and her estranged family, and with the help of Nathan, who was on the island the summer her mom disappeared, she hopes to learn the truth about what happened in her past. It sounds so good. Very excited for our final Nora of the year. I actually already did a whole reveal video of the 12 Nora books we're reading next year, and 3 of the months are going to be trilogies we're reading of hers, so technically we're reading more than 12 together. If you're interested in joining our Nora Roberts read along and journey together, I have my Patreon link down below all the time, and I'm excited. And before this video goes up, I believe, I don't know when this is going up because I'm pre-filming, but I will be at Nora's Inn as well in Boonesboro that I'm going to next weekend, and I cannot wait. I'm so excited. So love all the Nora stuff, all the Nora reading, first book on my TBR. Then I have Historical Hellions, which is my historical romance book club I have with Samantha and Christy, and we are reading Jude Devereaux. We're reading Velvet Angel. I'm very excited. I actually own this one, and I love just the iconicness of this copy. There's lots of different editions of this series, but this one is part of the Montgomery series, I believe, and she came to him naked, rolled in a rug. I don't know why. That's literally the first line of the synopsis. And then he gazed into her green eyes. She had blonde hair and he was undone with passion. But it says she would never surrender. He was a hated Montgomery and she was a Chatworth. I think they're rival families. And it said she vowed to fight him, to resist him and his kisses. I don't know how this is gonna go. It kind of sounds like it could have some problematic elements to it, but this came out in 1983. So, sounds fun though. Rivaling families, I don't know why she was gifted to him. We're gonna figure that out. Okay, I don't know where to start. So those were the book clubs. I will probably do one more read along with my Patreon at some point. We usually randomly decide to read something together and then have a live show about it. So we will see what we do. But the one thing on the top of my list, well, I have two. I have been loving fantasy so much, and I have a lot of fantasy on my TBR for this month. And the first thing I want to read, which everybody has been reading, and I have FOMO, but I've had no time because I've been reading too many Christmas romances, but I would love to get to my reread of Quicksilver. I do remember some of this book, but for how long it is, I don't remember enough, I know, to appreciate Brimstone. I am, though, obsessed with these covers now. I was not impressed when they were first released, but there's something about them that I find very cool, and I think, yes, it does have art. Like, this is cool. I will say I appreciate it now. So, I have seen some interesting things about this online though, particularly the editing. Like, I guess there's a lot of errors in this, which I will be intrigued to see. And it's not on KU, which is kind of sad, but that's the publisher's fault. The author really has no say when she sells her rights to the books about if it's in KU or not. But I need to reread Quicksilver. My sister, I think, just finished, so I'm gonna reread this one and then read Brimstone, and we'll see how it goes. Then another fantasy that I would love to catch up on is the Legacy of God series by Melissa K. Rorick. I need to read book 3 so that I can jump into book 4. I have massive books on my TBR for December. Is this going to be overly ambitious? Absolutely yes. I don't know if I'll get to them, but I would love to finish this series. I've been putting book 3 off until I have book 4 in my hands, and I do. This just came out this week that I'm filming this, so I need to read book 3 and then have that all fresh in my my mind and immediately jump to book 4. This is where I'm going to read these back to back, hopefully. I need to stop taking breaks when I read series because then I never pick up the next book. We're going to finish the series and call it a day on 2025 because I started the series this year and I would love to end the year with the series as well. So they are one of my favorite fantasy romances at the time, so I cannot wait to catch up and see how it ends. I do know the first chapter actually, so I went to a Polycon and went to her special event that she did, and they did like a live reading of the first chapter. So I kind of know what happens, but kind of not. That was back in April when I had read books 1 and 2 already, so catching up on that, very excited. Then let's just go ahead and keep the fantasy vibes rolling. I have 2 more fantasy books that I would love to get to because I've started these series and have not finished, and I would love to prioritize this one specifically because it just came out and it's the only one I have to catch up on, but that is Fallen Stars by Amani Iru. I loved Heavenly Bodies so much, and the ending, I think I will reread that book to see the ending because I remember it, but I want to make sure I remember the details, so I might reread like the last 2 chapters and then go into this one. It does have pretty art, which I love. This is the Barnes & Noble special edition, and I can't wait because I loved the hero so much in this one. She, I think, had asked his father for help in like tackling her powers and training her for help, and she's like from a rival kingdom, and the hero's the one who had to train her, and then they fell in love, obviously. So good. Cannot wait to read this one as well. And then the other series I would love to catch up on is the Helen Schwarzer series. It is The Legends of Thesmar. I read Blood and Steel, obsessed, and so I need to read these. It actually has really big font, which is nice, but the ending was a cliffhanger, and I really love the romance. I love the action. I loved everything about book 1, so I would love to continue the series. That's only half my TBR, and that's like 5 insane fantasy romances, but let's go ahead and talk about some wintry ones that I'm excited for. I have 4 on my TBR that I would love to get to that are Christmas romances, basically. So we do have from KM Gillis. She sent me these and I am so excited. They are hockey, but I realized I really love hockey holiday romances. I don't know why, but she had initially wanted to send me this one because I talked about it, and I'm really excited because it's a second chance romance. And then she asked if I wanted both because this is the first one. So now I'm like, okay, now I'll read both of them, obviously. So this one, it says that she wants a fresh start. She has a new job in a new city, and her small town has a NHL superstar, and that's her brother. So she is the little sister to a famous hockey player. She then has to move in with his best friend and teammate, Foster James. He is the top goalie. I do love a goalie romance. I don't know what it is about them, but so it's brother's best friend. Christmas, hockey, very excited. But then the other one that I'm very excited for is the second chance one, which is Check the Halls. And this one says that she has a fiance, a dream job, and then she comes face to face with the man who stole her heart a decade ago. And it is Ben. Oh wait, that's Ben. That's her brother. So we have the heroine and the heroine's brother. I was like, wait, that name sounds familiar. So very excited. I really want to read both of those. And then I want to read this one because Heated Rivalry comes out before like this goes up, but after I film it. I'm gonna be feral. I'm not gonna be okay. I read that, I think, a couple years ago. Obsessed. Rachel Reed has a new book out called Time to Shine, and this one actually isn't new. It came out last year, but I would love to read it this year. So this one says it's a hockey romance, and it is about Landon. Landon is a backup goalie, and he rarely leaves the bench. And then Casey is not like intimidated by him because Landon is always very much like loner, don't talk to me vibes, but Casey loves talking to him. He's super charming, and they couldn't have less in common, but then Landon needs a place to live, and Casey just bought a massive house, so they have to live together. So excited for new Rachel Reed to me, and I really want to read this. And then the last one for winter is going to be finally a pack for winter. I did read my first Eliana Lee this month, and I really loved it, and I am obsessed with the pack for autumn, so I want to read this one. We have the next 2 books coming out in spring of next year as well, and this one says that she is 31, unbonded, and she is a 5th grade teacher, and there's a snowstorm and a power outage that traps her in her classroom with 3 men, the new alpha music teacher, a flirtatious beta vet, and the town's grumpy alpha electrician, and they fall in love. So obviously I'm gonna cozy up on the couch and read this. This would be great to read Christmas Day. around that time, so I might save it for then. And then speaking of Eliana Lee, I did read my first one by her, and I do have the audio of this one as well. I would love to read The Scent of Us Part 2. I'm assuming this one. Okay, so this is actually our same heroine. So I did not know if it would follow a different character we met in the first book. She met someone kind of like near the end, and I was like, oh, well, she's probably setting up her book. But this is our same characters, and I think one of her old bonds is trying to make her life miserable, even though she's happy with her new mates. So she was in a very abusive pack in the beginning. This is Omegaverse, and she got out of that, and then she's slowly like meeting her new pack and falling in love after quite a few years. And then I think that someone is trying to sabotage that. So I really love the first one, and I'm excited to read the next one. And then I do have part 3, or unless it's a different title. I'm assuming that the third book's about that other character. I don't know, but I love Eliana Lee. I would love to read that. I do have this book on every TBR, but I would really love to get to it because I am in the mood for fantasy, and it's What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez. You guys are probably rolling your eyes. I put this on every single month's TBR. I think that the winter would be perfect to read this. This one is kind of like the Mummy vibes, and she ends up going to, it's in the 19th century, and she goes to Cairo, and she brings her sketch pads and a golden ring her father sent to her for safekeeping, and there is a bunch of questions when she arrives that she has, and there is an infuriatingly handsome assistant to her guardian thwarting her at every turn, and it's The Mummy Meets Death at the Nile. So The Mummy is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's a buzzword for me whenever a book is recommended like that, so I would love to read this. We'll see if December is the month. Then I do have some mass market paperbacks that I would love to read, so I don't know what to start first. First, I would love to read some Christmas cozy mysteries, and I recently went to Half Price Books and picked up A Good Dog's Guide to Murder, which is a cute, adorable paws and claws cozy mystery. Look at all that on the cover. So visitors are arriving in droves to spend Thanksgiving in the mountains at their town, Wagtail, Virginia, and they're all bringing a dog or a cat gingerbread house to enter the contest. So there's a tree that, and a limb of the tree falls, and the mayor says this is too dangerous, let's take it down, and they find a body in the trunk of the tree. So they're trying to figure out who did that. I don't know how that works, but it looked cute, so I bought it. And then I'm feeling old school historical romances lately. So I have 3 that I think would be fun to read. Will I get to them? I don't know, but I'm gonna think about them. One's not old school, actually. Let's talk about that first. I'm probably gonna have to buy the Audible audiobook of this because it's not in my library, which is annoying. But Diana Quincy, my love, I love her so much. She has some of my favorite historical romances. She released a new one recently. I would love to read it. And this one says that she's reunited with the lost love of her youth and forced to reckon with their past in this persuasion retelling, which I love persuasion. So obviously this is having me really excited, but I'm annoyed my library doesn't have the audio, so I will probably use an Audible credit for that because I need it. And then the last 2 are old school. So the first one I actually just got at Half Price Books. Look at this stunning cover. This is snowed in Alaska. Like, snowed in's one of my favorite tropes. Oh, we also have a little note from someone who had this in 1988. 7/7/88. Which is crazy to me. This published in 1988, so they bought this in July. They bought this as a first edition. They bought this brand new and wrote down the date of when they bought it, which is really cool. And it has like such pretty foiling, but this one is raised in Alaska. She has felt only the scorn for the southern gentleman who came to the territory too late in the season, and she finds him nearly dead from exposure, so she doesn't think twice about saving his life. She carries him as a blizzard raged outside, and then she can't resist his embrace. He's aristocratic. The hot-blooded male thawed her with one searing kiss and discovered the uninhibited lioness within. And it said romance was the last thing he needed. He's got stuff in Virginia waiting for him. I usually don't like US, like American historical romances, but this one sounded too good. So I want to read this in December, of course. And I would love to read another Shelley Thacker. She's one of my favorite historical romance authors, so I have Midnight Rider I would love to read by her. Again, this one is in the US, which I don't typically love, but hers are very adventurous, which I love. So the heroine is a widow, and she disguises herself as a man called Blackerby Swift. She has a mission against the ruthless villain who condemned her to debtor's prison, and she's not alone on the highway though. So we have the Earl of Darkridge. He travels the same roads as the same scoundrel, the man who stole his family fortune, and so he wants to take that person down. It is his infamous rival, and it's actually our heroine. So that sounds so good. I'm very excited for this one. Cannot wait to read it. And that is my ambitious TBR. I didn't even touch my audiobooks. I didn't even touch my Kindle Unlimited. That is just physically all the books that I have that I want to read. We will see if I get to them. I would love to read them, but I'm just being ambitious. At least I have a big stack of books to choose from depending on my mood, whether I want fantasy, romance, Omegaverse, historical. I've got something for every mood. So that is my TBR. Let me know which is at the top of your TBR and what you're excited for me to read. I would love to hear. If you made it this far, leave me a snowflake in the comments for my amazing Snowden historical romance that I cannot wait to read. Leave me a snowflake just to let me know you watched. And that's all I have. As always, thank you so much for watching and have a good day. Bye.